Yo, so I want to talk about every type's worst Pokemon. Now, real quickly, I want to go over some of the rules. Only fully evolved Pokemon. And I'm not going to be doing something stupid like, male Combee is the worst bug type because it's fully evolved and it can't evolve anymore. No, that's stupid. No one cares about that. I've seen so many YouTubers do that, and it's just so dumb to me. Like, no, I'm not doing that, right? And then no duplicates. For example, if I put Ladian as the worst bug type, I'm not going to put it as the worst flying type. So now that we have the rules set out, I'm going to just be talking about it real quickly. So yeah, first up, I'm going to start off with bug type, because bug types are my favorite type in the game, right? So obviously, like I was saying before, I think Ladian is the worst bug type by far. So here's the thing. First up, you have a really horrible typing being bug and flying. Now, you do have a good immunity to ground, because ground is the best type for offensive in the game. And then you are resistant to fighting, which is also really good offensive typing. But then you're weak to rock by 4, quad weak to rock. And then you're weak to very common types like electric, fire, flying, and ice. And then you don't really have good resistances. Other like bug and grass are pretty bad resistance to have, right? And then look at these horrible stats. Like, oh my gosh, you have horrible stuff. Now your special defense is good, right? But everything else is horrible. Oh my god, look at these stats. They're disgusting. Your abilities can be useful, I guess. Iron Fist isn't horrible, right? You have some good movesets, right? Because you have Power Punch, alright, I guess. Drain Punch, that's good. Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. Okay, that's okay. But you can't really utilize it because of its low attack stat. You're not going to do any damage. Even the summary of Showdown just makes fun of it. Falcon Punch, Ladian cheers itself in its lonely, unranked depths of PU because of its god awful Pokemon with no niche. And even here it says every other Pokemon is pretty much better than Ladian. It's one of the worst Pokemon in the game by far. It's just horrible. Now going on from the bug type, I want to talk about the normal typing now. So I think the worst normal type is Cast Form, because here's the thing. Its stat distribution is pretty bad. The ability doesn't really help it because all you're going to do is change your typing, which can be useful. I mean, water's a good type, right? But like with these stats, you can't really do anything. I actually made a video how to buff cast form, which is how I think it could become better. But I don't think, as it is now, it can be good. I will put the how to buff cast form in a link or wherever, somewhere, blah blah blah. The moveset isn't horrible though. You have Rain Dance to stop your own cast form, water form. I mean, again, water's probably the best form out of them all because it's just a really good typing. Hydro Pump's good. Ice Beam's good. Thunder's good. For rain, at least. You have a decent moveset because you have Energy Ball, Flamethrower, you have Fire Blast, I believe. You have Ice Beam, of course, Icy Wind. You have different and good movesets, but you just can't really use it that well because of your weird stat distribution. It's all around 70, and 70 is pretty bad to have everything on. If it were like 100, I guess I could see it somewhat used, but as it is now, it's just not that good. Now, going on from normal, I'm going to go over fire, and that has to be Magcargo. So, Magcargo has a really bad typing, being fire and rock. You have two quad weaknesses, which is horrible. You never want two quad weaknesses to begin with. You don't want a quad weakness to begin with, but there are some Pokemon that can use them really well. Now, you're quad weak to ground and water. As I said, they're some of the best typings in the game, and is really, really strong. And then you're also weak to fighting, which is another really strong offensive typing. And then you're weak to rock, which just suck. No, you have some good resistances like fairy, ice, flying, and fire. However, with these really bad quad weaknesses, it just really hinders McCargo's typing, right? And then the stats aren't that useful. You have good defense, decent special defense, low special tech, and low HP. So you can't really do anything. You'll take damage first, and you won't really even do anything back. Now you can do some decent stuff like stealth rocks, you have recovery, you have toxic, you have lava plume, but overall you can't really utilize anything too well because of your low speed, low HP set, and horrible typing with not too many good abilities. Your best ability I would say is Flame Body, and Flame Body isn't that useful in competitive Pokemon if I'm going to be honest. So yeah, I think Magcargo's the worst fire type in the game. Now, going on to the water type, it has to be Love-Disc. Everyone knows Love-Disc sucks. Of course, water type is a good typing. You have decent enough speed and a good ability being Swift Swim, which doubles your speed in the rain, which is good, right? However, you have really low special attack where you cannot even utilize what you want to do. Love-Disc kind of want to be a fast Swift Swimmer, but like with this low offensive stats, you can't do anything. You're super frail, you're super weak. You have good typing and good moves, I guess. I mean, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, that's pretty much what you want overall. You can do something cheesy like uh, Drain Kiss, I guess, but overall, Love this can't really do anything other than Ice Beam and Hydro Pump. That does really, really low damage because of your low special attack. So I just think Love this can't be utilized well, and it's just really bad, right? So yeah. Then going on to Grass, which is Wormadam Grass form, right? So your typing is horrible, right? Bug and Grass, absolutely garbage typing. You're weak to ice, you're weak to fire, and flying quad weakness. You have a strong resistance to ground, which is good. You resist some good typings too, electric, fighting, in water. However, these weaknesses don't outweigh the resistances. These are horrible weak type, right? Your stats are horrible again. You have really low HP, you have low defense, you have decent enough special defense, right? And then you have horrible special attack. You can't do enough damage that you want. And then it's slow. You can't be slow and do nothing on the field. You have to do something. You have Overcoat, which is a decent enough ability. Basically, you're immune to sandstorm or hail damage, pretty much. Now that's alright, but overall, with its bad typing and pretty bad stats, it can't do anything. Now you do have Quiver Dance, a really good move, but with this low speed, you're not going to be able to use it that well, and your bad typing. You could try to like do it +6, but you're probably going to be dead by then, so Wormadam just horrible, right? And then going on to Electric, I would probably have to give it with Minum. I was looking through other Pika clones because that's pretty much it. I was thinking, well, maybe Pachirisu, but at least with Pachirisu, you can do something like Super Fang, right? Now, Minum is probably one of the better Pokemon on this list because something because of its alright stats compared to everyone else. So 95 speed isn't horrible. You have kind of meh special attack, mediocre at best. And then Volt Absorb is alright, I guess, because you're pretty much immune to electric types and you heal a little bit. So that's good. That's good. And then you have Nasty Plot, Thunder Thunderbolt, and then you don't have Hidden Power anymore because of getting rid of it in Gen 8. So like you can't really do anything other than just use Nasty Plot and Thunderbolt. So yeah. I don't think it really has anything going for it other than Nasty Plot. I guess you have Nuzzle, which you can easily just paralyze your opponent, but like you don't really want to use it because like You rather just use other electric Pokemon that are much better, like Zapdos, or let's say Zeraora, or someone like that. It's just a different Pokemon all around. Now moving on to from electric to ice is Pelipperg. Pelipperg is just horrible. You have horrible typing again, horrible stats. Ice and flying is one of the worst typings again. Quad weakness to rock, which suck because A, you want to have a good typing because the only thing good about rock is stealth rocks, and stealth rocks is very popular to use. Now, there are heavy duty boots. However, you're probably just gonna die and get outsped and just lose the battle, right? You have spikes, rapid spin, freeze stride, that's alright. Your abilities are pretty bad. Pretty much you can't fall asleep with both a vital spirit and insomnia. And then hustle, which sucks because like your stats are very bad, you don't want to use it anyways. So overall, Delibird is just really, really bad overall. Moving on from ice is fighting, and I was having a hard time choosing between Hitmonchan or Crabominal. I ended up choosing Hitmonchan simply because of its better typing. Because here's the thing, Ice and Fighting is a really good offensive typing, and it actually hit for decently strong damage. It had like what 136 attack. That's good, and it had decent HP and bulk. So like I had to choose it over Hitmonchan because Hitmonchan has no HP, right? And then you have decent bulk, I guess, and not strong enough attack where you would do anything, right? And then your speed is relatively low. Now, Iron Fist is actually decent on Hitmonchan because like you want to be using punching moves because it has pretty much every punching move in the game, pretty much all of them. And then you have fighting type, which is a decent offensive typing. I think it's a good offensive typing. And then your moveset is alright. You have rapid spin, you have drain punch, you have mock punch, you have throat chop, you have the elemental punches. I believe you have a bullet punch in close combat. So like you have moves you can use, but it just get outclassed by every other fighting type that there's just not really use of Hitmonchan. So yeah, I just think it's not horrible by say, but it is really bad. So yeah, I think it's just worst out of every other fighting type. Now moving on to poison. I would have to give it to Dustox because Dustox doesn't really have anything really going for it, really, because the typing again is horrible. Bug and poison is pretty bad. You are strongly resist to fighting, but that's pretty much all you have. And then your stats are horrible again. Low bulk, low speed, low offensive stats. Now you have Compound Eyes, which is a good ability, mind you. I think it's a good ability. So you can probably do Sleep Powder if it gets it. Does it get Sleep Powder? I don't think so. No, it doesn't even get Sleep Powder. Oh my gosh, this thing's horrible. Yeah. But you get Quiver Dance and Iron Defense. Uh, no, you don't really want to use that. Because, like, Quiver Dance is good, but, like, you're slow, you don't hit hard to begin with, you just don't live at all. Why don't you just use Volcarona if you want to use Quiver Dance? Or even better, Venomoth, which has the same typing and is actually a good Pokemon with good stats. Well, decent enough stats and better moveset overall. Roost is good, but like you're just gonna die, so like yeah, and moving on from poison, funny enough, to flying, Beautifly. Beautifly pretty much has the same problem with Dustox. At least it has 100 attack, special attack, which is good, but you're super frail, you're slow, you have no HP. I was also thinking of Butterfree and Masquerain, but at least with Butterfree, it has better stats overall, I would say, and compound eyes. So then you can use pretty much accurate sleep powder, sleep powder, and then you have bug buzz, you have quiver dance, you have air slash, you have energy ball. You have a better moveset and a better ability overall. So I had to give it to Butterfree to being better. And plus, Butterfree is just more fun to use. I'm not going to lie. And then with Masquerain, it has a better ability being Intimidate and better stats too. Like it's faster, it's better bulkier because you have better HP and defense and special defense. So it's a little bit better, right? And then you also get Sticky Web and you still get Quiver Dance. So like Masquerain is just better overall than Butterfree, right? Or I'm sorry, Beautifly. And then your abilities, again, are horrible. Rivalry doesn't even matter because you don't use your offensive attack, right? So like, or physical attack. I'm sorry. And then Swarm kind of sucks. You have Quiver Dance, which is a good move, but again, use Volcarona, use Venomoth, use a better Moth Pokemon, right? You have Bug Buzz, which is good. You have Roost, which is good, but it can't really utilize anything it has because of its low stats. So yeah, I think it's probably the worst. Going on to ground type, I had a trouble with ground types because they're all relatively all right. I would say either Golem or Stunfisk. So I had to go on with Stunfisk because I think at least Golem has more bulk, I would say. Maybe Golem you could argue with Golem because it has a worse typing. Ground Electric isn't a bad typing, but it's not good. It's kind of mediocre. Honestly, I would lean more into bad because you're weak to ground, ice, water, very common typings. And then you resist rock and poison, which are bad typings overall. Steel's more defensively, and flying is alright. And then you're also immune to electric. Now, you have a good HP stat with uh, mediocre defense stats. Your special defense is good enough, I would say, but you're slow and you don't hit hard enough to do any damage, right? Now you do have static, which is the same thing with flame body, not good enough for for a competitive team. You do have stuff you can do. You can use stealth rocks. You have toxic. You have earth power. You have discharge. You have things you can do, but like you're just not strong enough to do the things you want to do, right? So I would just say that Stunfisk is probably the worst Pokemon for ground types in the game, probably. You could argue a few other ones like Golem. Golem is fair. I feel like there's probably some other ones I'm missing. Obviously, Sandcoat Wormadam is worse, but like I already use it for grass, so I had to go with Stunfisk. Overall, I think it has a good typing, but like, well, good offensive typing at least. And you have good HP, but overall, you're just outclassed by every other ground type, in my opinion. Now, going to Psychic, it's easily unknown. Its stats are horrible. You have low bulk, you're slow, you don't hit hard at all, and more importantly, your only move is hidden power. So you will only have one type of move. So let's say you have hidden power psychic, you get completely walled from a Pokemon like let's say Tyranitar, which is a dark type, or even better, a steel type like let's say Metagross, who completely walls you because it's bulky and it resists you. So pretty much, if you don't have a Pokemon that can do anything with, you can't hit at all, right? So I would have to give it to Unknown because it's just horrible, absolutely garbage typing, and just horrible overall. Now going on from Psychic to Rock, one of my worst and least favorite types in the game because it's horrible. It's Corsola. Now, first up, it has good abilities, Regenerator and Cure. natural cure, sorry, are really good defensive abilities. You heal every time you switch out, or you can heal a status condition. Those are good abilities. But you look at the typing, rock and and water is just not good typing. You're weak to very common typings, being electric, fighting, ground. You have a quad weakness to grass, which I did say is more of a defensive typing, but most grass types will use defensive grass types will use something like, let's say, Giga Drain, or let's say with Terraform Power Whip. So it's pretty much dead if it faces something like a Terraform, right? And then you do resist fire and ice, but that's pretty much all you're going with. And I don't think it outweighs the really good weaknesses that it has to it, right? And then the stats are just pretty bad. Now, your defensive stats are all right, not good enough, but all right. But you're slow. You don't have enough HP. You have low attacks, so like there's not really much you can do. You can set up stealth rocks, I guess, and then toxic, but that's pretty much all you can do. And with Gen 9 getting rid of Scald from most Pokemon, you can't even burn anything with Scald, right? So it's just a really, really bad Pokemon overall, and I just think there's just better rock types, even though rock types suck. So yeah, Corsola has to be one of the worst rock types in the game. Going on from rock to ghost, I would say Banette, because Banette is just frail. It has bad abilities. Maybe if they give it a Mega, maybe it would be decent then. I don't know, maybe give it a Praxer, give it better stats. I don't know, maybe they would do that sometime. I don't know. But yeah, you have actually alright attack. 115 isn't bad. It's actually pretty respectable. However, everything else is horrible. You're frail, you're slow, you do have decent enough moves, I would say probably, because you have Shadow Claw, you have Sneak, Shadow Sneak. Do you not get anything else actually? When you have Will Wisp, do you not get anything else actually? I knock off. I thought it had more moves. I guess not. Oh gosh, Bennett sucks, and I love Bennett. Yeesh, I'm sorry, Bennett, but you're garbage. Hopefully you get a Mega or something. Maybe then you'll be better. I don't know. But hey, going on from Ghost to Dragon, I would probably give it to Appleton. As much as I like Appleton, I just don't think it does anything of use. Now, with Flapple, at least it's offensive, and you can use it with Dragon Dance or Home Claws and just sweep decently well. But the typings are not good, right? You have so many weaknesses, and then you're quad weak to ice. Now, you can't fix that with Thick Fat at least, so it just becomes a weakness and not quad weakness. But you're still weak to it, and you're weak to Dragon, Fairy, Flying, which are very common typings. Again, you resist ground and you resist electric and water by quad resist, which are good resistance to have, but you're slow. You have good HP. You have decent bulk. I would want more bulk, but decent. You have all right special attack, so you can actually do a bit of damage. You have Leech Seed in recovery. You do have Apple Acid, which is a good move. It 100% lowers the special defense while also doing damage. But overall, I don't think it hits hard enough where you would want to use it. And it just doesn't have enough bulk and it's just slow. And the typing is horrible. I wish it was better. So yeah. Thank you for thank you for that, Appleton. And then moving on from Dragon, going to uh Dark, I believe, yeah? I'm sorry, I was just thinking because like I was going to Sableye. Now I was thinking either Sableye or Liper, but overall I think Liper just has better stats because it's actually distributed to certain stats like attack and speed, giving it the edge over Sableye. Now, it does have a good defensive typing, being Dark and Ghost, and a good ability being Prankster, right? But sadly, the stats just don't make up with it, right? You're really frail, you don't do any damage, you just die, you're slow. Now you do have good moves being like Will-O-Wisp, Knockoff, Recovery, Encore, Taunt. You have good moves, but you just can't use it because you're just really, really weak and you just can't do anything, right? You're just gonna end up dying at the end. So yeah, I think Sableye is the worst dark type in the game. Now, from dark to steel, I would probably give it to Bastiodon. As cool as Bastiodon looks, the typing rock steel is pretty bad. Yeah, you resist a lot of typings. That's pretty good, but like you're quad weak to fighting and ground, which are some of the best offensive typings in the game. Every offensive type Pokemon has Earthquake pretty much, and will run it if they have it. And then a lot of Pokemon got access to close combat in Generation 9. For example, like Scizor, you have Haxorus, you have a lot of Pokemon that learns it from the TM. And then you're also weak to Water, which is also really good typing. And I just don't think it's that good of a Pokemon. You have low HP, really good defense, really good special defense. You don't do anything back to them. You don't live long because your HP is low and you have a bad typing, which will probably die from an earthquake. You can't hit hard back. You're slow. You don't do anything. All you can do is like stuff rocks and maybe do a Metal Burst if you can do it and predict right. But overall, you can't really do anything to your opponent, right? I guess you live once from sturdy, but overall, you're gonna end up dying in the end. So it's not useful to me. Like at least with Aggron has better stats and can actually live decently well with its all right HP, all right defense, and can actually hit hard back. So overall, I think Bastiodon is probably the worst steel type in the game. And then going on to the last type in the game that I'm going to be talking about, obviously, is Fairy. And going on to Fairy, I think it has to be just Wigglytuff. Now, the typing, why is it normal? I guess you get immunity to Ghost, but I would rather resist fighting than have immunity to Ghost, right? So giving it a normal type kind of sucks. I guess you get stabbed, but where are you going to attack with these stats? You have good HP, that's really high, right? But like, why is there stuff in special tag and attack? It would be better if these were swapped around, but even then, it's still bad and wouldn't really live too long. It needs better defenses to do anything. You have competitive, that's a good ability. Every time your opponent lowers their stat, like let's say they switch to Gyarados with Intimidate, you're gonna raise your special attack by 2. And that's alright, but like you're slow, you're frail, so like you're not gonna be doing anything. You're not gonna hit them back. You have alright moves, I guess. You have Wish, you have Teleport, you have Knockoff, you have Protect. I think it gets some good special attacks. Like I think it gets Moonblast. I think it gets Flamethrower. You should get uh, I think it gets Thunderbolt if I believe so. Let me check real quickly. You get Thunderbolt. You can use Stealth Rocks if you want. I don't know why you would use Wigglytuff with this, but overall, I think Wigglytuff is probably the worst fairy in the game. I could be wrong. There might be another fairy that I didn't think of, but I think Wigglytuff is just horrible. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you like my videos, because I like subscribers, you know? I like viewers, I like likes, I like subscribers, so yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, bros.